All right. Thanks for stopping in. And I wanted to talk a little bit more about this character, Blue Marvel, who I think is a very interesting character. And there's some great historical context for this character, especially if you're into, seeing positive black male characters or positive black characters in general rise up. So initially, when I look at a character like this, I want to get an idea of like historically what was going on. So there's two avenues I have to kind of take a look at with this character because there's the setting when the story takes place, which is 1962, and there's the actual release of it, which was 2008. So, given a little bit of historical background, this is a story about a black hero in 1962, and obviously this is a time when John F. Kennedy was president. I always like to give that historical context. We were at the height of racial segregation. The civil rights was gaining massive ground, and for the media landscape for that era, obviously there were no black heroes. So this is a story about a man, kind of some traditional comic book lore that he's a scientist, which is a big thing, right? He's a scientist in this setting, not someone in jail, not someone who goes through necessarily a trauma to get his superpowers. I mean, it's a trauma he goes through, but it's more typical storytelling for comic books. He was a scientist who gets involved in an accident, and he emerges with all these powers. Now, at the time, there were no major black heroes in 1962. When it's released, obviously are, but this is the landscape that he is working with. And he grants these powers, and this is a time when it's dominated by, white male heroes. So we're heavy in, Superman, Batman, Captain America. And even some of the sci-fi genres during 62 were a lot of Cold War stuff. So the idea is that he gets these powers. He's this highly intelligent genius who is blessed with this godlike power, who wants to do the right thing, be a hero, and starts to do that. He gets rejected by larger society because they're not ready to see a black Superman. Because essentially, guy's actually even better than Superman in a lot of ways. But he's that type of a character with the terms of the power and the strength and the righteousness. So this is a character who has to step down, right? He has to step down and not be the hero. When the story reboots, obviously, we could tell the story. He comes back and is reintroduced as a hero, even though he had been hidden because a black guy couldn't be a hero. This is what the government had asked him to do. So it says a lot about the suppression of that imagery. Now, when the comic comes out is, like I mentioned, 2008. This is released by Kevin Grevioux, if I'm saying his name right, which is the brother up top from the Underworld series. So a great actor, and he's the one who was really the fuel. He's the creator of this. So this is a time, obviously, 2008, George W. Bush is in office. We're seeing the rise of Barack Obama. There's cultural conversations about race and representation are increasing, and this is going through my Marvel Comics. Came out 2008. Adam, the Legend of Blue Marvel. So this is a very interesting character because of the approach that he wanted to take, and he's already integrating social events. So basically, the story is that he's this Marine veteran, right? Olympic level athlete, genius level physicist, and he gains his antimatter abilities in a scientific experiment. Gets strength, flight, near vulnerability, cosmic energy manipulation. His major arc in his storyline was he starts to be the hero. His mask gets ripped off in 1962, and the public realizes he's black. The government asks him to retire to avoid racial backlash. That's the arc of the story in the comic books. He overcomes this and reemerges decades later. So that's kind of a unique character. Kind of to me, is similar to Isaiah Bradley, who was the Captain America, who they wanted to exploit his gifts, but didn't want to have the nation see him as it. So this is very telling in the time when we have this new Captain America. So those are the major storylines. He appears, like I said, in 2008 in his original storyline. He later joins the Mighty Avengers, which is led by Luke Cage at this time. So a lot of change from the original Avengers. He would join the Ultimates, and this is as recently as 2015, 2017, to help solve cosmic threats. He works with Black Panther, Monica Rambeau, Captain Marvel, and America Chavez. So obviously part of a very diverse group of beings that get representation with, America Chavez being a part of it, with Captain Marvel representing, obviously, the female strength, and Monica Rambeau, and then Black Panther. So there's a lot that goes on in the storyline for this character. It's massively interesting. It really, deals with the ideas of like, the Superman level hero being erased from history. The fear of black power, like his presence challenges so norms about who is the symbol of power. And I had recently done a video where I talk about Kal-El's role in kind of maintaining this supremacy mindset. And this is kind of counter to that. This is directly saying that, yeah, that does exist. His powers, are God level powers. So I think it reflects some mythology in there. And the analogy that have been made have been to this Kabbalistic character, Adam Cadmon, who I believe in mythology was like the first man. He was perfect. He was a divine man. So the intelligence, the strength, the power kind of embodies that type of character. A Prometheus type of character who brings power to humanity and is punished for it. He is, kind of a Sar. He's cut off. He was buried. He then is resurrected. So he digs into that type of, character arc. And then also the idea of, the Hercules or the Gilgamesh character who is punished for having these great strengths. It works as a burden that they have to carry. It's interesting because the character culturally had some modest initial sales. It's got a pretty decent cult following. Obviously, a lot of black comic book fans and creators are into this character, and he became a symbol of like when black genius is suppressed. So now more modern comics are kind of dealing with this, this issue, and it to me it kind of represents this Marvel having this slow reckoning with representation and actual history. But, again, applause to the brother who brought this out. I think it's great work. I think it's a great character. I'm glad we get to talk about it a little bit. This video ran a little bit long for, this type of piece I like to do. But I wanted to kind of get into what I felt like the historical impact, context, and so forth of this character would be, because I think that's as important as how strong he is. It's a great character. If you have more to add to it, please do so in the comment, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Thanks again.